Hey friends, Diane here. Let's continue with the next love language, which is acts of service. Here's another area where there can be a never-ending list of how to show this type of love. Yet again, it must be things the other person needs or desires. Anything from fixing things around the house and making sure there's a warm meal ready, to changing the baby's diaper and making sure the bills are paid can be included here. The point is to do something for your spouse that they would just rather someone else take care of for them. Dr. Chapman says that they require thought, planning, time, effort, and energy. These acts again show our loved one that we have them in mind. We want to lighten their load and help them carry their burdens. As always, this is ideal when it's reciprocated, of course. Too much giving or too much taking leads to a very unhealthy relationship. But as I said a couple of weeks ago, you can only be responsible for the choices you make, not the other person's. This is not rocket science here, so allow me to digress just a bit. As we should all know, relationships don't always go smoothly. Dr. Chapman uses a case study of some of his clients to make several points. First, they illustrate clearly that what we do for each other before marriage is no indication of what we will do after marriage. Some people complain about misrepresentation. When we are newly in love, we tend to put our best foot forward. We tend to go out of our way for this person we are so in love with, and we put them first many times. Sadly, once we say, "I do," we stop doing. We start thinking about me, myself, and I again. This never goes well. And why? As I've been saying, love is not about me, myself, and I. It's all about the one we claim to love. His second point is you cannot create the will to love. As I've been saying, love is a choice. We cannot force the other person to choose it, or else it's not love. Enough said. The last point he makes is people tend to criticize their spouse most loudly in the area where they themselves have the deepest emotional need. So what we need to begin doing with criticism is to see it as a cry for help and not take it personally. Yeah, I know, this is a tough one. Yet as we mature in Christ and desire to love our spouse the best way we can, we will listen to criticism with different ears. Again, we will choose to not get personally offended, but take their words as a way to learn their love language. We will ask for clarification instead of starting a fight, for instance, because one more time, the key is not to take it personally. They have a need, but they don't know how to express it, so they criticize. As we both grow in the relationship, we learn that this is not an acceptable way to speak to someone you love, and instead of criticizing, we begin requesting. This takes both to grow, but if one spouse is not willing or still too young in their faith, the stronger spouse must decide not to take offense and then get defensive. This is how fights begin. One must choose to de-escalate the situation. I've heard it said you cannot have an argument if one party is not willing to fight. During such an occasion a while back, as a quarrel was about to start, I lovingly turned to my husband and said, "Honey, take off your boxing gloves. I'm not your enemy. I love you." That alone deflated the whole negative atmosphere and brought us to a place where we could hear each other again. Let's continue tomorrow with this acts of service. I'll see you then.